unburned particles of gunpowder, which when a bullet or a shotgun shell is fired, there's always some powder that is not fully burned. You have these little granules, usually brown in color.
Talk with us a little bit about the general mechanics of a shotgun and why it is that you would see those kinds of things inside the barrel when it had been fired.
Again, you have a tube here which holds the shotgun shells. You load them in this particular model through the bottom. And as you pump this action, it will load a round into the chamber here. And then if the safety's off, you fire it. And when you rack around, it will eject that shell case out. If you rack it back, it will put another round in there if there's one available in this tube. When this is fired, as we discussed earlier, out of the shotgun shell, you have in that plastic or that nylon wadding that holds the shot together. Once it exits the barrel, this opens up, and the buckshot, as it travels, it gets in a larger and larger pattern the further it goes, usually about an inch per yard average.
And at a basic level, there's an explosion right here. When you pull the trigger, there's an explosion at the base of the barrel.
There's an explosion at the base of the barrel.
And the explosion sends heat and everything else in that shotgun
Up to 5,000 degrees out right there immediately out of the barrel. Also with this particular shotgun shell, you have what's called a polymer buffer in there. It's these tiny little white specks of polymer, which also rides in between the buckshot, leaving the barrel to keep them from rubbing against each other and deforming it. Because if it's not a perfect sphere, circle sphere, it's not a travel true. So this buffer is also in there.
and all of that, in addition to the pellets, is exploded and it flies out the barrel. And that's just the general mechanics of the shotgun.
That's the general.
And so you look down the barrel with a light to see what?
Again, I'm looking for these little specks of powder, and I basically want to see a pretty clean barrel other than these little specks. When I look at this barrel, I see dust and debris in there, which tells me immediately this gun is not been recently fired.
What would you expect if the dust and debris, or I'm sorry, what would you expect if the gun had been recently fired? What would happen to the dust and debris?
These be gone. It blows it out. Again, you have these little specks of unburned powder in there. That's usually all you'll see.
And in fact, when you look down this barrel, you found dust and debris, not unburned powder.
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
Put this back in the box.
Yes, sir. With respect to that examination of the shotgun, you really can't do much else in the field, can you?
No, absolutely not. I don't want to disturb anything that will affect it ballistically. I'm not going to take this gun apart at the scene or at my office. It's going to go to the fire department hall.
To be tested for function, whether it be safety, additional scientific tests that have to be conducted on this weapon.
That is right.
And so you can't do a field strip and take it down. And so the best check that you can conduct is down the barrel when you're conducting your investigation.
That's the best thing.
Now, you mentioned to us earlier that you created a sketch of 13 and the carport as it related to this particular shooting. Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit Q. Do you recognize that exhibit? Is that your sketch?
That is my sketch.
If there are no objections, state remove Exhibit Q into evidence as may tonight.
Any objection?
No objection. I just reference it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exhibit states Exhibit 21.
Sir, tell us what we're looking at here.
Actually, have on the board is actually two separate sketches. Here we have the roadway. You can see number 13, number 11, and number 9 Aspen. You can see this group of yellow here, the 223 caliber shell casings. Again, this is not to scale. This gives, just to give you an overview of what you're looking at in the photograph. Give you a bird's eye view. This clump of green right here would be the 9mm shell casings that were found.
While we're on the two sets of shell casings, you said there were 13 in number, both 9 and 223 shell casings.
That is right.
This drawing looks much smaller here in green than it does in yellow. Why is that?
That is because if I put that many as close as they were clumped together, I would have to make the sketch.
Okay.
So that's just representative, that is not an accurate count of what is there, it's representative of where they were found.
But these are the two angles, and this is where the casings were found with respect to both angles.
Yes.
I note that there are two more up here that are yellow in color at number 9.
Yes. In front of number 9, the residence there, right in the roadway, the actual rain gutter is a 2.3 shell case. And about approximately 10 feet further into the yard is a secondary 2.3 shell case.
And did you find any other shell casings, any ballistic material of any kind out of the street or along this crime scene? Let's talk about what we see here in the carport and this sketch on the right side of it.
And here we have the carport. Got the victim with his head, his feet. Got a representation of the 12-gauge shotgun, flashlight pieces. And these just give you a general overview of the angular strike to the walls. And we can see the trash can here. And these angle strikes in the wall, the back wall, and the side of the building. This one over here is very small, with a driveway light, not that tall.
And these were all of the bullet strikes or projectile strikes that you found with respect to the shooting that occurred in number 13.
That is correct.
There were none in the car. There were none along the front wall of the residence at 13. There were none in the neighborhood, or excuse me, the neighbor's house at number 15. And you looked for all of those things.
Yes.
There it is. Let's talk about the interior and rear of number 13. Did you conduct an examination with respect to the interior and rear of the residence that we've been discussing?
Yes, right.
You see photographs of that in State's Exhibit number 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us how it is that you came to conduct this particular examination and what you found when you examined the house and rear yard.
Again, when I arrived, I got a briefing. I was briefed that a young man had his arm shot with a machete, run into this residence, pretty profusely. And obviously, we can see this photograph here. I did not take.
Right, this is at the hospital, and so we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about what's in the crime scene.
Okay. In the kitchen area, you walk in, we have these blue jeans which are cut off. There's a towel there. There's a blood soaked towel over there. And we have a pretty good volume of blood on the floor.
Typical signs of medical intervention at the site.
Yes.
That the blue jeans and t-shirt were cut off of him. Okay.
This is the back porch to that residence. We have some large volume blood loss here. We found a ball cap on the back porch. And this is a sidewalk or patio stone leading up to that area. Again, large volume.
And as you traced the large volume of blood, did you follow it to its origin? where was the origin and what route did you take to find the origin? Find your map. Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 1. We are now in the backyard of number 13. Tell us, please, what you did to locate the origin of the blood.
And it appeared to trail off this area and around the house here, out the roadway, all the way down to a very small amount of time, not asking the roadway. And what edge of the gutter.
Kind of in the general area where you talked about the shell casings, roughly.
Yes.
When you locate blood, such as you have in this case, what do you do in order to obtain and secure evidence?
Again, we want to document it with a photograph, usually with a scale in it, so we can go back and we want to make it 1-to-1 or see exactly how large the blood stain was. And at this point, after we photograph it and document it on our sketch, we will take a sterile swab and swallow the same blood and secure it through later like that.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes.
In fact, you did that at several steps along the path of the blood, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us how expensive it is to run a blood test at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
Taxpayers, it's expensive, probably $1,000 minimum sample.
So for every swab that you collect, it costs taxpayers about $1,000 to determine whose blood it may be. And it's also very time consuming, right? DNA testing, not like on TV.
No, it's never 24 hours, it's usually about 3 months if you're pushing it, sometimes a year. Backlog.
In this case, where everyone has said that Justin Riley was bleeding in the kitchen, and everyone has said that Justin Riley was bleeding through the backyard, and that he started bleeding over at number 9, was there any need to send off blood swabs to determine whose blood it might be?
Not to my knowledge, no, the investigator saw the need, apparently, there's nothing to mitigate that.
But again, you collect it because,
Can't go back and get it.
okay. Now, you mentioned to us a little while ago when you started testifying the weather conditions that were present that day. Talk with us to the effect that it had, how much it rained, how long it rained. What effect did it have on your crime scene, on the exterior portions?
Well, my recollection, it was like several hours, it was not, like I said, not a hard rain, but a fairly steady rain. The hard drizzle, maybe. This made it very difficult to see the blood in the roadway. In fact, I really couldn't tell the bulk of the blood in the roadway until it quit raining and kind of dried out, and I could see moisture went away and I could see the blood stains there.
And what about the yard? How do you follow blood in wet grass?
It's very difficult. Obviously, you have a condition where you're probably going to lose more blood, certainly in grass and soil, than you would on a hard, non-porous surface such as a roadway.
I'll show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit. Oh, let's do this. Investigator, please step right here. Showing you State's Exhibit O. Do you recognize those photographs? Did you take those photographs? Showing you State's Exhibit K. You recognize these photographs?
Yes, sir.
Did you take those photographs?
Yes, sir.
Did you take them on the morning, October 29th?
Yes, sir.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 8. Recognize those photographs?
Yes, sir.
You take those photographs?
Yes, sir.
Do it on October 29th, 2011?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 14. Recognize those photographs?
Yes, sir.
You take those photographs?
Yes, sir.
You do it on October 29th, 2011?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there are no objection, the state's going to move into evidence K and O.
Any objection?
Objection.
None on behalf of Ray Greenlaw, Your Honor.
O will be admitted as State's Exhibit 22, and K will be admitted as State's Exhibit 23.
Let's look at states 22. You were explaining to us a moment ago the difficulty that you had with blood. We see blood here on the asphalt in the lower left of that work pack of photographs. Okay. Is this some of the blood trail that you were talking about with Justin Riley?
Yeah, that's some of the larger areas we want to see.
Okay, we see it's marked by number 32. In the upper left photograph, do we see the same number 32? And can you see the blood in this photograph anywhere? Real difficult to see.
Very difficult.
If at all.
If at all.
Okay, and so this is a blown up photograph of the same here. Talk with us about what else we see in the upper photograph on the left side of exhibit on your end. 22. Okay, walk us through what we see here in this photograph.
You can see the blood there, and over here, I see a beer bottle there, and I believe there's blood there.
Okay, but with respect to the item number 34, clearly a green glass beer bottle, such as you would find with a Heineken or a St. Paul's Girl. And also in the crime scene in the front yard, you found chicken wings and more beer bottles. Tell us what else we see in this photograph. Whose house is this?
This is the residence of Greenlaw.
Okay, that's number 9.
Yes.
Notice a white Jeep and a maroon-colored passenger vehicle in the driveway. And around number 9 and the driveway and the vehicles, we also have crime scene tape. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And those were put up before you arrived on scene to mark the perimeter of the crime scene. Talk with us what we see in the upper right photograph.
We have the shell case here, number 1. A small area of blood in the gutter. Number 2, in front of number 9.
Okay. Number 1 here is one of the 223 shell cases that you described to us previously in your sketch. And there would have been another one just out of range here in this photograph up into the yard area. Okay. The lower right photograph, just want to point out some things real quickly. We've got the red driveway here for number 13. We see the markers that depict both 223 and 9mm shell cases that you previously testified to. We also see the white Jeep and the red passenger vehicle up here at the Greenlaw's house. Is that right? And so this is kind of a pedestrian view looking up and around the curve.
Up and around the curve.
Now, you talked to us about the 223 shell cases that were discovered in the front yard of number 9. We know from telephone calls and 911 calls into law enforcement that the 9mm was also fired in that front yard in the same general proximity as the 223 was fired. Do you have any explanation for not being able to find any 9mm shell cases in that area?
Subject speculation on this part.
Which respond?
That's a different question.
Try that.
Investigator Denise, how long have you been a crime scene investigator in Bush County?
23 years.
more cases that involve shootings over the course of your career?
Many.
How many crime scenes do you think that you've worked?
I've worked over 1,400 general crime scenes, over 200, probably closer to 230, as far as homicide.
And how many of those do you think involved weapons and ballistic evidence?
Vast majority.
Have you worked other scenes that have 9mm involved?
Absolutely.
Have you found other times, have you had other times in your career where it was difficult to locate 9mm shell cases? In this particular instance, was it difficult to locate 9mm shell cases?
Yes, certainly, if it would be out of the roadway.
Okay, and what were some of the impediments to locating such evidence?
Again, the inclement weather to start with, but afterwards, having 9mm or any thinner type shell case like that falls safe, for instance, in grass or in the yard. It has a bad habit of falling just like you see it there, especially in thicker grass. It stands straight up. When you're looking straight down dead onto it, I'm looking down at a black hole, so it's a lot easier to miss that than say this is locate.
Or even a larger
Or even
shell like
a larger shell.
223?
That, and also the fact that it wasn't a roadway, we didn't have some traffic through there.
Okay. What effect would traffic have on 9mm shell cases?
It could, again, kick it off in the grass, it could, in the realm of possibility to get caught up in the tire tread, it's certainly possible.
So there are several explanations for why a 9mm was not, or a 9mm shell case was not retrieved from out in front of 9.
That is correct, yes.
As you were standing in the front yard and conducting your investigation, though, with respect to number 9, you've already indicated that you found some of the blood on the roadway.
Yes, sir.
Did you find any blood on the grass area of number 9?
Yes, sir.
How about the porch? Let's talk about the porch specifically. Find the photograph for you. Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 8. The lower right-hand photograph of the board depicts what?
This depicts the front of the residence at number 9, the driveway. You come around the corner of the sidewalk, it's the walkway which is covered, which leads to the residence's front door. There's a chair out there, table, barbecue room.
These chairs, they're plastic. They have nothing in them. They're lightweight. There's a little table there. On top of the table is what, an ashtray?
I believe that there's glass there was no.
Anything to suggest to you that there had been a struggle up on this porch?
Nothing forensic.
Any blood up on the porch, along the walls, on the entry door? Anything to you to suggest that a person had been injured up on the porch, whether by a machete or some other device?
There's no bleeding, no blood detected there. And again, this area is covered, there's no rain on it, it's dry. There's nothing.
I'd like to call your attention to the item located here in the yard, just off the edge of the porch and in line with the front door of the residence.
Yes, sir.
That wasn't the only Budweiser beer bottle that you found within the residence of number 9, right? In fact, I think we have a photograph here on the lower left of some of the other Budweiser beer bottles that had been consumed in that residence.
That's right, this is the kitchen trash here. And when you first walk inside the residence, the front door, you see a couple of their bottles on the coffee table.
Again, Budweisers. Okay. And then let's look at the round table there in the kitchen.
Then you move into the kitchen area, the round table, you have a bottle of rum, about 3/4 full. Another beer bottle.
And this is a green glass beer bottle consistent with St. Paul's Girl or Heineken.
Yes.
And I think we can even see the edge of the St. Paul's Girl label.
It's on the St. Paul's Girl.
Any signs of a disturbance in the house, a violent encounter? No tables thrown over,
No disturbance in the house.
no broken glass,
That's,
nothing that you would categorize as out of the ordinary.
that's,
Well, we're getting close. I just like to look for inappropriate stuff. Investigator Reeses, for purposes of movement, allows you to step back up to the witness stand. The board's easel. Ladies and gentlemen, you are excused for the evening and subject to all prior instructions on communication and investigation. And we'll ask you to be back when it's 8:45 tomorrow night. Claire? Everyone may be seated. Investigator, I need to advise you of the rules of administration. It is, for purposes of record, I have to advise you that obviously we're not having testimony, you're coming back in the morning. You're not to discuss your testimony with any other witness or anyone else for that matter, other than the attorneys involved in this case. You also need to be very careful in the morning when you arrive and avoid contact with any observers. Such to the point, you may have been advised of this, but such to the point that even if you get into an elevator with someone who has on a juror badge, you need to get off the elevator. Don't even have that type of contact with them so that you could not be accused of inappropriate contact with the juror. Should you violate court's instruction, the remainder of your testimony will be stricken, and also you will be subject to criminal contempt of court. Do you have any questions about the
no, Your Honor, I fully understand.
You are excused for the evening, not released from subpoena, and we would like to have you back here ready to go by 8:45 tomorrow.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anything else we can address this evening, Mr. Will?
Judge, I think the lawyers and I, or all the lawyers, we need to get together and talk about some of the cases. I don't know that we need your involvement this weekend, maybe that we can do it after, everybody in the audience is for trial.
Yes, ma'am?
Juror 6, as he was leaving, asked me if the last two witnesses, I would assume including this one, were joint witnesses as announced before. I told him I had no idea, and I would have to ask you to clarify if necessary. It's juror
We have
6.
some very attentive jurors.
The last two were not.
We should probably, we need to make sure that that's clarified tomorrow morning. I'll make a note that that's done, and in fact, I'll ask Mr. Williams to do that. Anything from either defense counsel?
You guys,
I will ask counsel to do that, and ready to go by 8:45 tomorrow morning. And recess. I have to work it out with the deputies, whether you can stay in here or not, or somewhere else. They're gonna want to go home.
just straight out, we're closed. Tower. Fox
estimated 11 civilians, and the court reporter will be all the way down. The attorneys are going to stay with the
Yeah, fire.
Ryan, do you have anything else over there sitting outside?
Right.
Anything else that you might
You guys are meeting, right? Ryan, you guys are meeting, right? We are. You're responsible for that.
That's passing the buck.
Exactly. I'm going home.